raw sienna. I'll use it in the hair a little bit, but not on the face, because if you can't put something on top of it, it gets muddy right away. You know, this is an opaque color, or semi-opaque, so what I try to do is mix up some puddles of things. I'm going to mix up this for the flesh tones. And over here I've got a few things mixed up that I'm going to use for her hair. Those are the big things. When I get to this, at the end, I'll just mix it up at the last minute. But I'm going to be using Permanent Rose and Aureolin, which is a cool yellow. I'm going to use those two for the face. This is a cheap brush from Cheap Joe's. I don't know what it's called. I can't read it anymore. But I use it. It's just a cheap synthetic thing. I use it for mixing the paint so that I don't damage, because I damaged a lot of my brushes, you know, trying to mix. So I try to use that for mixing paints. I am not a calm painter. I have not done demos because I'm a frantic painter, so just, that's the way it is. That's the way I paint. And I will not finish this today. I will not be able to finish this today. I tried to do it, I've done it several times at home. I tried to do it quick in an hour and it's not good. So I'll get as much done as I can, and then I'm going to be painting with some ladies this afternoon, and I'll finish it this afternoon if you're interested in seeing it later. Okay, so here I'm going to start with the face. I have taken a pencil and made some, you can't probably see it, some very little dots about where I want, can you see this? Yes. Where I want to put some shading. I'm going to, for the moment, I'm going to leave part of this white. Okay, and I'm going to put some shading. Now I'm looking under her eye, that's kind of light too.
So you don't do value studies?
Oh yeah, I've done all those. Yeah, I did all that. The first thing I did was I traced it on a tracing paper, and I did two values, white and black. I did that. And then you've got this here.
Put it down.
Okay.
She'll zoom in on it.
And then I do, yeah, I did a black and white one. And then I do a lot of, on my computer, I do black and white photograph to look at it. And on my computer, I did a close-up of this, of her nose. I did a close-up of the shoulder, because to get the body right, you know, there were parts that, so I do a lot of that on my computer. Just taking and then looking at them to try and figure out, you know, what, because this shoulder is really, I think, very important, that clavicle there, that muscle. So I do that. So I had a lot of those, and then I did probably 10 drawings, different sizes, you know, many drawings until I got to this. Because this, I mean, this head is weird. I mean, look at her head, how that kind of goes out there. So there's a tendency when I painted it for it to go, it's complicated. So we'll see how it goes today. All right, so I'm going to mix. So the way I do that is I have these separate puddles, and then I'm going to mix them.
Is that your flesh color?
Well, it's going to be,
What was the red?
Permanent Rose. I'm not liking the way this looks. We'll see. I might use another yellow. And you know that with watercolor, with watercolor, whatever color I put on there, it's going to dry a shade lighter. So when I put it on, it's going to look dark, and I'm going to say I've already ruined it. But you know, a good thing to do, too, is just keep going. In the beginning, it always looks terrible. I think I'm going to use this. I like this better than that. This is a Daniel Smith Hansa yellow medium. It's a transparent yellow that I like too. And then I can go to that. I don't want it to be too orange. And I'm doing, oh, you can see, I'm doing swatches on here to see what I'm getting for color before I start. Now I'm going to need a lot of water because and a lot of pigment because I've gotta cover it wet enough so that it doesn't dry as I'm going down, which is always the problem.
Tell us about your little tray.
I like these trays
Yeah.
because I put the paint around the side and then it's really great for mixing big chunks, and then when you can wipe it off when you want to do something else. I like it better than pulling the paint out of those.
Can you buy those through?
Yeah, where do you get those
Buy the
from?
Dick Blick for $15, I think. I've got a small one too.
What do they call them? Just trays?
Butcher trays.
Butcher tray.
Butcher trays. Okay, I'm gonna use this brush.
What kind is it?
I gotta get it. I've gotta get enough pigment on there.
What kind of brush is it?
This is
kind?
I love these. These are those silver black velvet brushes. They've got a trying to get enough water, but not so that it's now getting really too light, because then you got a white paint. So, and I'm going to go up into the hair a little bit. I made a little, ooh, it's hard to talk again. Like I said, I'm not used to this. I'm going to lift this. Can you see if I lift it?
Yep, we can see it all.
Yeah, right down there. Leave that little space there. And I quickly want to go in and soften this. And this is looking a little orange to me, so I'm going to fix that with a little bit of, just drop in some. I gotta keep going. Take that part of the lip.
That's your shadow side.
Yeah. You know, and they say, you know, the face is full of many colors in the face, so try to have, but you know, sometimes that's all I can do to just get this on smoothly. I want to do, I don't know if I can get some, let's do a little bit of,
Is that cobalt? What'd you do?
this is, no, I can't get some, it's an Italian kind of a turquoise thing that I can tell you about later. I can't remember the name of that. It's a transparent.
Italian turquoise?
It's an Italian
Turquoise.
paint, you know, I don't remember the name, Mary something.
Huh.
I gotta keep going here.
Mary
I do
Blue?
have a bit of a recipe.
That was great.
I'm adjusting the color as I go. Now, if you notice in the picture, it kind of gets lighter. It's lighter after this. I don't want it to be white, so I'll do this. Oh, it's not going as badly as I thought it would.
Going, it's going very well. You're doing great.
Patty, what is the red or the pink color that you're using?
I'm using permanent rose. It's a really nice transparent pink. Kind of go into the hair, that's, you know, because your skin goes up into your hair. Sometimes I use two brushes. I noticed John Singer Sargent used to have like one in his mouth. That's helpful. Now, it looks like I went a little too far here with the nose, but I can fix that. Maybe. Now, as long as I'm here, I'll start off doing a little bit of this. Is there a hair dryer? I didn't see it.
Yes, it's right there, Patty. It's right in that, by your water.
I'm going to do a little bit of this lip. Now, if you notice the lip, the bottom of the top lip is darker And the lower lip is always lighter. We've got the shadow from the upper lip coming, and I'm looking very closely here. There's a little bit of pink coming out on the bottom here, so I'm gonna put that. You know, if you want to paint portraits, you have to be ready to do all this little picky stuff. Okay, so start with, leave that there since that's wet. Let's get this down here a little bit.
What
I don't
color,
know how far
what color was that, Pat, on the lip?
Permanent rose.
Oh, it was.
And
Straight.
sometimes I mix, I love permanent rose mixed with a little bit of brilliant orange, which is an orange that's transparent. I love those colors, and you'll see when I do her cheek, I'll probably put some of that in. Okay, so this is where I always say, oh, it's ruined already, but I'm just, the beginning is always, somebody said it's like an adolescent, it's kind of not really. Since I've done that, so I'm going to dry this. This is the first layer. The outline of the hair. And in doing the hair, I'm going to just get it on there really fast and not pay a whole lot of attention to, I'm not going to pay attention to detail in the hair. Now, my daughter's hair is blonde. She's kind of a strawberry blonde, but you can see it gets darker here. So we're going to start with that lighter stuff. And I'm going to use some of this, with a bigger brush, I'm going to use some of this raw sienna. And I'm going to pull out some of this orange, which got to be careful, but whatever, and a little bit of yellow maybe. And I'm going to lay that in. I do this a lot. I don't know if you do this. I do this a lot to look at what I've got before I put it on the paper. I like to show the direction of the way the hair is. You know, see that woman there? Oh, the direction of the hair. I find that interesting. So I'm going to be doing that. So here we go with this. Kind of goes this way. This goes up. I'm going to keep trying to change the color as I go. Just very quickly do her hair. Leave some white spots if I don't forget.
Did you say leave some?
Try, but
Yeah.
you know how that goes. Oh, yeah, I love that. You can always, when it's wet, I can show you later, I can pull out some color too. Just getting this in there. Switch. And I'm interested in having a soft edge on the outside here, so
Did you say that's the Hansa Yellow medium?
this is pretty much rock sienna.
Rough
Yeah, a little bit of Hansa Yellow medium, a little bit of brilliant orange. So for the moment that looks kind of, but whatever, that's okay. Here between the hair and the skin, you want to soften that because you don't want to have these sharp lines. You know, except if you've got something hanging like this, it's very gradual. That's why I said you can paint the skin up into the hair. So I'm doing that. Yep, there. Now, this is still there, so now I have to deal with the background. I think what I'm going to do for the background here is this I'm going to do once, so I'm only going to do this once.
Talk a little louder.
This background I'm normally going to do once, and it's making me nervous because this is what I just could not figure out at home. So
And what colors are you using
I'm
for the
mixing
background?
cobalt and permanent rose and a little bit of this raw sienna that I've got in there. And I'm gonna just do some of that.
You're not going for green, are you?
I'm not going for what?
Green.
No, I didn't like
Like the
that
photo.
green. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to blend that in with the hair, which I may have made a mess here because it was wet. That's why. And I'm wetting this a lot to just kind of get that gone. And I want some. Well, and I'm one of those people that dabs with a napkin even though you're not supposed to. I do it all the time. So there you go with that. So we'll see what that does. I may add to that later. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to blend that hair into there and not have a hard edge there.
Teacher voice.
What?
Don't forget your teacher voice.
Sorry. I need to dry things more than other people because I'm left-handed and I find myself sometimes working from left to right, which doesn't make any sense, and then I'm going to get, I'm going to smudge it, so that's why I had to dry that. All right, now I'm going to try to do some work on the face, on the coloring on the face. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to start with, this is the permanent rose and the cobalt, because I see shadows here. And I want to put them in. So I'm blending those in. Go down here. And now I'm going to take my favorite little bit of brilliant orange and a little bit of permanent rose to get kind of a, for her blush, for her cheek, which goes, put a little blob there. Well, this other part is wet, and then you're going to blend that in. Dry and go back in there a little bit. And so this will lead us to the eye, because I'm trying to do all this to connect so that it's not like some of this and then a dry edge and then I'm trying to keep it smooth. So the eye also is shaded. And you can go more down here, but I'm paying very close attention to smoothing this stuff over and not leaving hard edges. Okay, let's look at the eye. So it's really interesting, her eye is, when you've got a side view like that, the eye's kind of like this, And so I'm going to take a little mineral violet and a little blue. I'm going to just start on this lid. I think what's wet here. Not too dark, just to kind of start there. Okay, that's wet, so I need to dry. I need to dry this a little bit. And so this part of the eye, if you look, at somebody, it's red. There's red in there. So I'm putting some red in there, lightly now, because this is not the final thing in the eye. And I notice that under her eye, see, she's got a little shadow there. How old do you think she was?
You told us 16, 15.
Oh, I told you. Because I think she looks a lot older. But
She does.
But that's her personality too. She's one of those little kids that always sat in the corner and listened to everything and never missed a thing. Always knew what was going on. Okay, so I got that little shadow there. Now her eye, when Ted Nuttall taught his course, remember, Barb? I have a print of a painting that he did. I couldn't afford the painting because it was $4,000, so I bought the print, which I won't tell you what that was. But the eye, he's got so many different colors in the eye, and so I can't quite do that, but I'm going to do a little
Who did
bit.
you say it was, Pat? I didn't hear.
What?
Who is the man?
Ted Nuttall, Nuttall. He's really good for painting. Really good portrait painter. He did a workshop here 2 years ago. Okay, so her eye is blue, but I'm going to put a little bit of green there in the bottom. A little bit. And then I'm gonna put some cobalt, mix with a little bit of that turquoise, Italian turquoise that I'll tell you. Wait, I'll see if I can find it. Here it is. It's called Maimer Blue, Maimeri, Maimery Blue, and the company, I think that's the company.
Yeah.
That's the only one I have from that company. Okay, so now I'm going to put some blue. I'm going to leave a little white space there, that white. I'm going to leave that. I didn't put the, what do you call it? I didn't do this, but you could do this if you felt, But the problem with me is this is masking. When I start putting masking, then I look at my painting, I put so darn much masking, so I just didn't do it. I just put one little piece here, but you can mask it if you're afraid you're going to lose that white if you need it. So, but the thing is about these, well, let's do the other eye, because this one's hard for me, this other one. I'm going to put that blue. Not bad. I had a lot of trouble with that. So now I'm going to go, I'm just moving around in the painting. I'm not going to do everything, on one part and then go to another part. Because if you move around in the painting, I'm seeing how it's developing as a whole, how it's starting to darken and how it's developing as a whole. That's what I'm trying to look at. So I'll do just a touch here on the lip. I'll be doing more on that. And if you notice, I don't know what you can see from back there, but right here, her lip is dark out that way, and on the other side it's light. So I'm exaggerating that a bit. So I'm doing that, and I'm blending it. Okay. So now let's think about this hair. So we have to go to the next layer of the hair. I'll be doing a darker layer of the hair, and then in the end I'm going to do some very dark highlights. So this level, I think I'll use this brush. This is a squirrel brush, holds a lot of water, and I need to get, just hope I can be accurate. So I'm going to make a darker. I'm using burnt umber, and I don't want to get it too dark yet. Let's see here. This is a color called Pyroline Maroon, which is a fun color to use if you have somebody with dark hair. I'm going to use it a little bit here, and I'm going to add a little bit of what's that, ultramarine blue here to get a little bit of orange. Okay. So I noticed that it's starting to get darker back here. shadow. Oh, Frank, oh no, my teacher's here. So,
Never mind me,
I'm not. So I'm gonna bring this in, but I'm gonna try to change the color a little bit, not always the same. And I'm going to try to leave a few spots if I can. Down here carefully. Get down here. Into that. And then I'm going to take another brush. And pull that up a bit. Soften this. There's his hair down here. Let's soften that. This is eventually going to go into the skin. Still trying to blend that with the background there. And then she's got that little bit of kind of yellow that's in the light, which I almost forgot about, but you try to recuperate that. You know, once you cover something with a dark, you can't get the light back. So I may have lost it. That's very yellow, I don't know. And she's got this one little wisp coming down here, which I like. Hair. So let's soften that. And now I'm going to take some of that and sculpt a little bit here on the inside. It's got a little bit of dark there, a little bit of dark that will help define the direction. I like the way it goes up there and then it goes sideways, so I'm going to try to define that a little bit. I'm going to try to remember, whoops, strawberry blonde, but not orange. So if anybody tells you you can't dab with a napkin, just tell them, well, I know somebody that does. I'm going to, just a little bit, just to define that a little bit, that's enough.
So are you not supposed to dab at all?
Well, I don't know what you're supposed to do. You can do whatever you want, but you know, people say if you dab too much, you're grinding the paint into the paper. And the idea with watercolors, you don't want to scrub too much. You want to just get it on there really lightly so that you know the paper is rough, so that some of the you know, whatever you call those parts of it are still showing through. The white is showing through, and so if you scrub and put a lot of paint on, your painting's not going to be as luminous. So that's why I'm trying to paint lightly and not go over it too many times. And see, it's lucky I put that little bit of mask because I covered it. Okay. Well, that's good. You know, that's okay. That looks okay. All right, so now that we've got that, this is still kind of wet. Well, it looks like I made a mess here, but that's okay. We can cover that later.
And where did you put the mask? I don't think you told us.
One little line here for a curl.
Okay.
I'm going to go into this because this is dark, and I want to show that shadow. So, going back to my blue and pink here, my cobalt and permanent rose, and I'm going to do this. Need more water. I'm just going to bring her down like that. I'm going to soften that. And put in her little clavicle here. Soften on that. May lose this, but that's okay. This can get darker later, we'll see about that later. And I can bleed this into this strap because that strap's going to be darker and it's better to bleed that in now. Okay. When I get to the dark thing of her hair, I'm going to darken here too, because you can see this is almost black here. So this is enough for now. Okay, so what I wanna do is play around with her face some more. So, I see that this is going back here. And you know, I don't wanna put too many layers on. You know, this is like the third layer of this, and that's gotta be it. I can't be putting a whole bunch of layers on it, I'll get mud, so I gotta darken that there, darken that. She's got, you see the side of her nose, we've got some shadow there. We've got a line here. Let's put some of that. Shadow. Now the bottom of the nose, I'm going to put a little color here in the bottom. That's where the nose goes under and you've got some shadow, so I'm going to put some color there. Eventually I'll put the nostril. But like Ted Nuttall told us, the nostril, remember at the top it's dark, but below it just blends into the skin. So you don't just put a dot. You've got to blend it in at the bottom. It's always tricky. There's also some shadows around the edge of her nose that I see also go down here. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm looking at the picture. And we've got this thing. What's that thing called? It's got a name, but I can't remember what it is. Got that thing. So let's put that in. And then there's a little shadow under the nose. Be careful here. I can go back in there when it gets a little bit drier and darken that right there, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to work some more on this lip. Permanent Rose, a little bit of Brilliant Orange, my favorites. But I don't want her to look like a dance hall girl with, you know, really bright lipstick, so I gotta be careful. On the other hand, it does give this picture some color. Do you have any questions? Okay, good. Okay, so let's do the ear. Ear is darker. And then we need to do some shadow here in the ear, and we can get into that later. Don't worry about that later. All right, when my painting I said was about her eyes, so I wanna think about that. I'm trying to mix a color that's a dark blue, almost black, so I'm playing around with some ultramarine and a little bit of purple and a little bit of brown. I mix most of my colors. I mix my greens. I don't have, except for this green here, I mix my greens. I usually mix this Hansa yellow with Windsor blue, which is transparent. You can also mix it with cobalt, but remember cobalt is a light color and you will never get a dark. If you need a dark, you'll never get it with cobalt, so I usually use Windsor blue. And then if it looks too kind of greeny yellow, I can add a little red to it to neutralize it. Let's see here. This eye, she has very dark lashes, so I'm going to do this, but in doing this, I also have to do the top of the eye, because the eye under the lid there is shaded by the lid, so the top of the eye is darker. I'm putting some of that black into there. And I'm going to just suggest this lid here. And I'll come back to this again. It's still not exactly what I want, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna do this one. It's not dark enough. This one's kind of, just sort of not so sure about what's going on over there.
I missed the third color of your black. You said it was
I
ultramarine,
would say
purple,
use,
and
you
what
can
was
use
the other?
ultramarine and a brown,
Brown.
like a burnt sienna or
Thank you.
burnt umber, and then I added a little mineral violet to give it a little bit of, because just mineral violet and the blue will make it too blue, so I'm trying to make it more of a black, so the brown will help make that color more black. See here what I'm doing? Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Pat, do you have a violet or do you mix your violet?
I've got mineral violet. Yeah, I'm using that. I have that in my palette. Dark. But this one, I seem to think is not as dark as. And now I'm going to do the eyebrows, and I'm telling you, well, first of all, this lid, the way her lid is, it goes up here and down. I've done this painting a number of times, so I know how that lid is extremely important in communicating her look. This lid goes up here and down. I don't know if you can see it from there, but I don't think I have it up high enough because it doesn't give her enough of an inquisitive look, which is what I see. What I see in that look is, when she was 15, she went through some really hard things. And what I see in there is an inquisitive hope and also a kind of feeling of, things are never going to get any better. That's what I see in her face. And so I want to do that. I don't want to just do a pretty face. I'm trying to do that. And it's hard to do that when you're trying visually to paint it. Okay, so let's put a little red here again. And then I see that she's got this are coming out a little bit. Let's accentuate this under her eye. And now I'm going to do her eyebrow. And the way you do a person's eyebrow will determine